I'm Jonny Nicol, the founder and CEO of Stratajet. Stratajet does two things. Firstly, we enable fully online bookings of private jets anywhere in Europe or the US. And secondly, we have a huge efficiency play using software with those private jets, which essentially means we're able to substantially reduce the cost of private jet travel. What we've found over the past year is that we're able to even compete with business class for groups of 3 or 4 people traveling together. There are two things that make us unique. The first one is the ability to instantly price and book a private jet online. Over the last 10 years, there have been a number of companies that have attempted to have some kind of an online offering, but they've all had to resort to simply asking people where they want to fly and then manually quote for each private jet. It's a very expensive process. With Stratajet, we've taken all the different fees from private jet operators and airports and various other stakeholders in the private jet journey, and we put them into a single database. That is what makes Stratajet unique, is what enables us to price at the moment 1,144 aircraft instantly, and then the booking process simply ties into the back of that. Secondly, by looking at where all the aircraft are flying empty, and traditionally in this industry, 40% of all private jets fly with no passengers on board at all, we're able to essentially reroute those aircraft between airfields that passengers want to fly as that aircraft works its way to an airport it needs to be. Private aviation has for years been misconstrued as a way of traveling in total luxury. And that's actually not what aviation and private aviation has ever been about. It's always been about time saving. Now the Stratajet system works on the principle there is no faster or more convenient way of traveling around the world than to fly privately. Most of that time saving comes from airports and having to wait to go through security and wait for the aircraft to arrive at the gate. With private aviation, when you arrive, the aircraft starts up and it goes. In other words, when you fly scheduled, you are working around the aircraft. Whereas with private aviation, the aircraft is working around you. Now that saves hours and hours and hours on travel time. It also means you can fly to airfields that aren't normally serviced by the major airlines. And that, again, will serve hours when you look at the final destination. One of the features we have on Stratajet is instead of asking customers to say which airfield they want to go from and to, customers can also say, I want to go from this address to this address, anywhere in Europe, anywhere in North America, and it will automatically work out the best combination of aircraft and airfield to get you there as quickly as possible. We've been coming to Web Summit for a number of years now, and we've been hosted here as the company has grown from really just an idea all the way through to an established business, which is where we are now. It's a great opportunity for me to meet other CEOs from companies who are bringing technology into another industry, to see if there's any synergy between us and them so we can work together. But it's also a great opportunity for me, again in my role as CEO, to feel the pulse of the tech community and get a really good understanding of the environment that we're all in. There is no such thing as the average startup. Every startup will be slightly different. Some will bring a new feature to an established industry, and some will try and completely redefine an industry. In the same way, there's no such thing as an average investor. Some will take a very meaningful role in the running of the company, and others really just want to make the financial investment. It's always very tempting to take whatever check is on the table, but what I've learned over the 6 years I've been doing this is that it's really helpful if you can be careful about who you have as an investor. Never take the first offer. If one investor likes your company, the odds are a lot of investors will like it. And you need to make sure there is a fit both in company vision, but also, very importantly, a personal fit as well. There is no real tip for starting a successful startup. Again, it depends on the space and all the rest of it. But what I would say is I think one of the best books you could possibly read about doing a startup has nothing to do with starting a company. It's a book called Death on the Ice by Robert Ryan, and it's about the 1910 Scott Polar expedition to the South Pole. And a lot of the challenges that team of explorers faced will be the same challenges that a CEO of a new startup will face. There'll be dizzying highs, there'll be crushing lows, there'll be times when all you can do is work and it just seems like you're chipping away at a never-ending mountain. And I think when I've seen startups come and startups go, I think the biggest feature and what makes a successful startup is just determination, is seeing it through to the end. The only warning I will ever give is make sure you're building something people want. It is the only rule you need to be aware of for a successful company. Stratajet has finished what we call the test and explore phase. That is where we build the product, and we also prove to ourselves and to investors that we have what is known as a product market fit. We've built something that customers want, and we can make money from doing it. The next phase for us now is to really expand both in terms of marketing, but also in terms of global reach. And to that end, we have an office in Santa Monica, where we're heavily hiring for now in California, and we're just opening another one in Singapore. So it's a very exciting time for Stratajet, as we're able to not just bring a company to the forefront, but indeed the entire private aviation industry can now be accessible to people who never thought it would be possible to fly privately.